if you took some time during the weekend in the warmth of your kitchen to take care of some bills and maybe are finding yourself falling behind on your car payments, well, you are not alone. According to a new report from Bloomberg, Americans are falling behind on their auto loans at the highest rate in nearly 3 decades. Joining us to share some thoughts about that, Dr. Timothy Nash, Senior Vice President Emeritus and Director of the McNair Center for the Advancement of Free Enterprise and Entrepreneurship at Northwood University in Midland. And he's with us this morning on WKZO. Good to chat with you again, Dr. Nash. Good morning.
Good morning, Ken. Great to be with you, and Happy New Year to you and your listeners.
Well, Happy New Year to you as well. Maybe not such a Happy New Year to those who are struggling with the economy. This report on auto loans falling behind at the highest rate in nearly 3 decades. What's causing this?
Well, if you recall, this past Thursday and Friday, the CPI was released, and the PPI, the Consumer Price Index, and the Producer Price Index. There was bad news on the Consumer Price Index. It was up from 3.1% in November to 3.4% in December. The PPI was actually down for the second month in a row. That's the Producer Price Index, and that's supposed to be signaling future what future inflation will be like. So, hopefully it's signaling that there's going to be some decline in inflation in the next couple of months. However, to answer your question directly, the biggest difficulty that consumers face right now, Ken, is that inflation in a general sense, overall prices are up 18% since January of 2021. And if you're an American, the average American household is paying $2,500 more for the same items they would have bought in January of 2021 today. So inflation is increasing. It's increasing at a slower pace, but it's up about 18% for general consumption items. And one of the larger ones that we every month, as you notice, is that bill on the automobile. And new car payments are behind, used car payments are behind, even mortgage payments are behind. They're just not to the level that automobile payments are behind.
And cars ain't getting any cheaper, some may have noticed. And now electric vehicles, which are not cheap either, are being pushed on us. So what does this mean, perhaps, to the as far as the economy goes, for the auto industry itself for this future if it doesn't change?
Well, that's a great question, because not only are consumers are they behind on payments, but inventories to dealers are growing, which means the future sales are slower than dealers had hoped. A couple of years ago, you couldn't get a car off a lot because there weren't any. It just seemed like every time the car was produced, it was sold. New cars, non-SU or overall new cars, now have an inventory of 71 days. Electric vehicles, there's now a 114-day supply of electric vehicles. So, individuals just aren't buying automobiles the way they were 6 months to 9 months ago, and electric vehicles are double the inventory that they were a year ago. So individuals are definitely not showing any desire to purchase electric vehicles on a grand level.
Dr. Timothy Nash is with us on WKZO, economist from Northwood University, talking about car owners falling behind on their payments and inflation in general impacting our lives. And for those who sit at the kitchen table writing that check out and trying to figure out what to do, other than just throwing up their hands in despair, is there anything they can do?
Well, you know what a lot of Americans are doing, Ken, they're finding a second job. If you look at, there's about 3.5 to 4 million Americans that have a full-time job and a part-time job, according to recent federal data. So one solution is to pick up a second job, a part-time job, A second one is to sit around that family table and look at what can be cut from the budget. And oftentimes, what it means is they don't buy that new car. They don't go on that family vacation. Maybe they used to dine out once or twice a month. They cut out the dining. The family has all their meals at home and saves money by eating at home rather than eating out. They don't go to maybe a family movie once a week or 2-3 times a month. So those are the types of things that are going to happen to bring the family budgets into a strong financial position. But those will have negative effects on the economy in the areas where individuals and families cut back.
So is this a sign of things to come this year? Do you see any bright spot on the horizon?
Well, there are certainly some good signs with the economy. If you're looking at your 401k in 2023, your 401k did extremely well. The investments in the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, those were up anywhere from almost 14% to almost 50%. So there's been a lot of money being made there. If you happen to have a net savings account, you did well if you had it in the stock market. So that's been a good sign. The unemployment rate is still below 4%. It was up from 3.5% at the beginning of 2023 to 3.7%, but historically a 3.7% unemployment rate is a very strong unemployment rate. So if a person wants a job right now, they can go out and they can get a job. So those are a couple of real strong indicators in the economy. Overall, I would say it's a mixed bag. It's just that there certainly are a lot of concerns. And in a recent poll by the Economist magazine, noted that about 79% of Americans were concerned about inflation, about 71% were concerned about the general economy, about 64% were concerned about the national security of the country, and about, I think 56% concerned about our border and resolving our national border, especially our southern border, because of all the costs that we're incurring in bringing in individuals and having to house them, having to educate the young children, etc. We're a very generous and giving nation, but these are costs to the nation. They get pushed down to the consumer and state and local budgets as well.
Talking about the budget crunch facing many Americans with Dr. Timothy Nash from Northwood University here on WKZO this morning. Thanks so much for sharing your expertise on this important topic, and we appreciate your time again this morning.
Ken, always a pleasure. Keep up the great work.
All right, thanks so much.